television, but we did notice them as we were walking around, kind of surveying the area, seeing what this damage has done today. Braka. YouTube, we're gonna make you a believer, just in case the last video wasn't good enough for you. This is actually a very typical scene for what we're seeing here. We're gonna just walk down the street a little bit. As you guys know,
let me get. I'm out of control. I'm feeling myself. It's a beautiful day. I'm out in the elements. I'm really grateful that I'm not around anything Willy Wonka could touch right now. I'm really grateful. I'm out of the grasp of the diabolicalness, at least for now. You can't stay away for too long. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's go into the Harp system. You know that Harp was created about, I think, if someone... let me get... I'm out of control. I'm feeling myself. It's a beautiful day. I'm out in the elements. I'm really grateful that I'm not around anything Willy Wonka could touch right now. I'm really grateful. I'm out of the grasp of the diabolicalness, at least for now. You can't stay away for too long. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's go into the Harp system. You know that Harp was created about, I think, if someone was... I think if someone wants to, I don't have the specific time. Roughly around the 1915 to 1920s is when Harp was kind of instituted. Okay, someone can kind of. It wasn't called Harp at the time. It was called seed planting. I think Harp came later as the technology that they were using to progenerate and to create storms. Okay, to control weather. That's a beautiful bird. It's such a pretty bird. And because they were doing this for a long time, I think the first time you probably would have recognized the first time that they truly did this, and it was satisfaction for them or a success for them to destroy an entire area and displace a whole bunch of people, is with Katrina. Katrina and North Carolina are very, very much mirroring each other. The difference is one was a whole bunch of brown people, and now in North Carolina it's a whole bunch of lunar people. So it's like a polarity thing playing out. That's why I say you can never ever, you have to be careful taking sides, y'all, because the polarities always play out. What you allow for another side, and you've heard me say this over the years, what you allow for another people will come to you eventually. You cannot sit in apathy. I don't care if you have a lunar child, an Asian child, a blue child, a brown child. I will always protect children. It doesn't matter to me what color they are, what nationality they are, what religion they are, what language they speak. There's certain things you shouldn't tolerate. When you're seeing people in other countries being okay with women and children being bombed or children's heads being beheaded, like, I don't care. Like, if you did that to, supposedly to some people in my country, I'd be upset, but I'm smart enough, I have consciousness enough to know that a few people doing things doesn't mean a whole group of people are responsible for it. If a government is doing things, I don't blame the people necessarily, because I know a lot of these Willy Wonka bastards don't get their callings or their agendas from the people. They get it from the overseers, which are the goddamn Moors, the black dark lords. Okay, they get the orders from the top. So I don't blame the people. Like, I don't go in other people's countries saying, like, oh, I hate the people, because the governments are doing their own thing. Y'all, I don't know if you realize, you haven't any control. You did not pick anyone. These social, psychopathic, criminal shapeshifters or lifetime loopers, we don't even know what they are half the time, okay? They are doing things totally on their own within the realm of whatever their overseers are requiring from them. It's not the people. So when I look at a group of people that say things like, oh, the Democrats, like, you sound very socially engineerable. Because if you are really conscious, you will understand that if I have a 25-cent quarter, and whether I turn the quarter on its head or its tail, the value still remains the same at 25 cents. What would it matter if I have a Democrat? The Democrats and the Republicans are working on the same accord, if you've not realized. They're the same. They're the same people. If you think you're going to get something different, you're under mind control. You're under mind control. It doesn't matter who's in power. They're all in power, and they will play you, spin you, convince you of something that they won't ever uphold you. They're all demons. Just to be put in that position, you have to be a demon. You ever see when you're sitting down talking, they all do the triangle on their hand? I don't trust anyone who sits with the triangle in their hand. Go and look at all these meetings, y'all. Just be a watcher. Just be an observer. Look at all these shows, and you'll see political figures sitting down, celebrities. Look at where they place their hands. A triangle, like this, in the hands, and they act like it's a resting position. No, that is them giving honor to the others. Okay? They haven't any sort of concern for you. And if you know that we're in a simulation, you know the majority of beings in here are all forms of simulated lifetime loopers, forever characters that are upholding whatever maniac agenda that is occurring here inside of the simulation. We're at reset, y'all, and pole shift. You do know the pole shift is happening, and people say, well, what's the difference between a harp system and pole shift? I personally think that the pole shift is a cylindrical process that happens after reset in order to clear and start over again. So it is part of the AI system, clear it. So it's geoengineered, part of the process of the game at the end. So is Harp part of that? It could very well be a progenitor of the simulated programming. Maybe this always happens with Harp at the end. Maybe this is all what this happens at the end in this program. Could be, right? We don't know. But I will say this. For everyone existing in the Northeast right now, they have you in a gas chamber. The gas chamber that they said that they had the Jews in and in World War II, they have guys in there right now. You're going to really have to either make a decision to leave the country, stay in the country, or move somewhere where you can deal about it. Because, as you know, the AI system does a wonderful thing of watching the algorithm, monitoring certain people, and thwarting you if they feel like you are projecting that to the collective soul, like these in the simulation. I just think you're going to have to work together. I think at this point, you being solitude is not going to benefit you unless you join those who are like-minded. Okay? Because this storm, I don't know how bad it's going to be. To be honest, I didn't think, when I got the intel about the storm that was going to hit the Carolinas, once it didn't happen on the 15th, I was like, okay, it's not going to happen. When I see how devastated the Carolinas and parts of Georgia and parts of Florida and how many people transition, I mean, listen, they got people missing. They got pictures of whole families missing right now, y'all. It is absolutely insane. And it's very sad. And I think you have to be your own best advisor as far as where you could go, what you need to do. And I don't think you have to run from anything, but I think you're going to have to set your intentions to be somewhere where you're more aligned with less chaos and more peace. No one, because listen, the food is poisoned. We get our medicine, allegedly, all the prescriptions that you get are made in China and India. The very countries I told you, Xinhua and India, are the very countries I told you that bought the United States. I mean, I don't know about you, but if that was the truth, I don't know that I would trust taking another prescription drug in the United States, knowing that the very people who see you as a native indigenous that they want to get rid of, would you ever take anything from them? Like the blankets that had smallpox on it? I mean, I don't know. It's called the Trail of Tears for a reason. Would you want to do that? Would you want to get your high blood pressure from the very people who are creating it from a hostile disposition, as allegedly? I don't know. I mean, you let me know. How do you feel? Wouldn't you prefer to go to a country where they take care of their people? And not because they want to, it's because Their medical's probably free in other places, and they don't really get their rocks off from people being sick and dying slowly. Okay? I don't know. I don't know that I would trust the system of getting anything from a country that has that kind of mindset towards its so-called old citizens. And the citizens don't even, they're not citizens anymore because their country went bankrupt. They didn't tell their citizens, and they sold it out to two very hostile countries that have a stake in you not being here anymore. Thus, how you can get geoengineered storms wiping out whole populations and giving people $750. Meanwhile, they're giving a whole host of all your cash money, all your 401ks, all of your IRAs are over there in Ukraine right now after they cleared out all the Ukrainians, displaced them, and you got all these so-called others, okay, the Zionists moving there in the droves, taking all that wonderful cash that was used to relocate them and create a wonderful cohesive life for them in Ukraine. That was your money. And you still trust the bank after Bank of America. Just last week, people woke up from the Bank of America with zero in their account money. So you trust the very entities to house your cash, your hard-earned cash that you've worked and paid 50 million taxes for all kinds of taxes, which are illegal. And you're going to trust your money in those banks? I mean, you can if you want. But I'm just saying, y'all, I mean, if you're trying to outsmart and outlast this game, you're going to have to really put on your hard hats of intellect, charm, and consciousness, and hyper awareness. This is not the time, and listen, this is not the time to be asleep, or try to think, well, God got me. You know, like some people say, oh, God got me, girl. You know what I mean? God's got me. If God's got you, so how come your food is riddled with poison? How come these geoengineered storms are coming and your so-called God didn't create ways to give the help and assistance to those who are decimated by this so-called storm? If God's got you, how come you got monkey balls and HIV running all over rampant from something that people took recently? I mean, if God's got you, what kind of God are you worshiping? Because that doesn't sound like the God of love and peace. That sounds like the God of war. And that sounds like it may have been Baphomet you've been worshiping and you didn't even know it. Because when you're living in a Satanist country, which Mexico, unfortunately, because of the new Zionist witch who just Bruhana, who just murdered, allegedly, just basically took out a whole, there was another mayor who was just beheaded. He was just in work for like 2 weeks. I think it was like 2 weeks and beheaded. I mean, you got the biggest Bruhana, who's not even from the country, got a whole country of Catholics, and they ran after a woman who's not even from that same background. I mean, you've got all these Satanists, Baphomet worshipers, dark worshipers that are ruling over these spaces. That's why children are missing, sexual deviancy. Like anytime a grown person wants to have sex with a dog, a cat, a child, you don't think that's a form of Satanism? Why is it that all movies that are in the movie theater are all based in horror and criminal and what happened to the love stories and the comedic love stories? What happened to those? Why is everything that's about death is revered? Okay. Now, for those who are just, this is the fall of Babylon, y'all. It is a symmetrical pattern that happens inside of the simulation.
See, everybody's waking up by the Holy Spirit. Can't be no other way. Stay tuned, YouTube. We got some very, very disturbing news to report to you soon. Thank you for coming out to HSE-TV Entertainment. If you like, share, subscribe, hit the like button, speak about it, and pass the holy power to someone else. It don't hurt. It won't bite. Braka.